All right, and we're back. So different hair, a little more facial hair, but it's still me. I thought I would shoot another video to give a little bit of finality, a little bit of closure to the earlier videos that I recorded talking about my experience at Elon and strategies, tips for success, things of that nature. At this point, I am in my 6th trimester. I got 7 trimesters to go, so that means I'm right there. I'm almost done, and I graduate in December. And just in case you're curious about the timeline, because we do a trimester program, I just started this 6th trimester on Monday. I finish on 6/15, June 15th. Then I go into my summer, start back on September 1st, September to December 15th, fall trimester, final trimester, and I graduate. Then I take the bar in February, and I won't have to wait 4 months like most people. I wait 2 months because I get to take the February bar. So then I'm out of here. So that's the whole schedule. So back to it. I have gotten through the treachery that is 1L year. It was traumatizing. It was a lot, but I got through it. And hopefully some of the tips that I gave when I was actually like in the thick of it are, just as applicable to you guys as they were to me. So that being said, I wanted to just briefly touch on some of the classes that I've been able to take and my experience with those classes in COVID, right? So I want to talk about how the school transitioned to COVID, as well as how I've enjoyed my electives. I've been taking a few more electives and getting to steer off into the business law route, which was the main reason I came to law school, was to learn business and learn how to advise business people and one day be an entrepreneur myself. So let's start from the beginning. It was my final trimester at Elon Law as a first-year student. It's my final 1L term. I was taking property, I was taking criminal law, and I was taking, no, that's not right. Property, business associations, LMC, there we go. Property, business associations, legal methods and communications. That was a lineup. That was the first trimester that I did fully online due to COVID. Not going to say it was a shit show, because it wasn't, but it was an adjustment. And through there, I think the students as well as the administration figured out what did work and what didn't work. After that term, I've been completely virtual. I elected to be, even though we had the option to do hybrid. And the students who have done hybrid have enjoyed it. We haven't had, too many instances. I think we've had one instance where somebody went to a party and didn't tell people and then came to campus or something like that. But we caught it quickly and it wasn't a really big deal. Other than that, things have been pretty smooth. Students have had mixed opinions as far as if it's the right thing to do hybrid or in person or virtual, but to that I say, look at the Constitution, man. Like, we all got the right to elect to learn how we want. I wish I could quote, what is the right to education case? Oh, Lord, I just finished up with con law. Anyway, so I elected to be completely virtual. I've had a really good time doing my work completely virtual. I'm actually in a house now, whereas when I was shooting these videos, I was in an apartment, so I've moved. That's also contributed to why I've enjoyed being virtual. I have my own space here. I've got a lot of room to kind of spread out and get my work done. But it's been fun, doing work virtually as a law student. I have taken business drafting at this point, which is the law of contracts and how to, I say the law of contracts, not the law of contracts, but it's how to generate contracts, write contracts, edit, decipher why the language is used, what the language is for, things like that. Really fascinating stuff. I really enjoyed it. I've taken commercial law of sales. I've taken security regulations, which is regulation of the stock market. I'm now taking, bankruptcy, which is really cool. So I've finally gotten to touch on some of those courses that are really going to tell me if I actually want to practice business law or not. And I'm really, really enjoying them. The experience has been detracted from because of COVID. I'm not one to complain too much because I feel very privileged to, be doing as well as I am in this online environment, because it is hard. So I don't want to complain too much. But I do miss the community of being in the classroom and seeing your friends and whatnot. But, we're doing the best we can. That's all we can do. We've had rapid tests, and we've done them every, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks. For students who want to be on campus, they have to keep taking those tests and show that, show before you enter that you've taken the test. So I think that's really good. Let's see. The classes have gotten easier. Class has definitely gotten easier. People aren't on you near as hard as they were when you're a first-year student. The courses are still tough, but you learn the language of it, so it's not so hard to translate your knowledge into, into another course. Like, the basics, what to look for, what a rule statement is, the elements, where the major debates are going to be. You've got a better feel for how a lawyer is actually, making an argument for something without having to actually know that area of law. You just kind of get the gist of how things go. I've also gotten married. I just saw my ring sparkle. I'm a married man now. Got married on the 1st. Anyway, my point being, I'm taking a lot of the classes that I came here to take, and I'm enjoying it. COVID was hard. We getting through it. Some people don't like that other people get to be in person. Amen, is what it is. I've been completely virtual, and it's been doing me fine. I'm now really in the phase of my legal education where I'm putting everything I know to the test. So I'm doing my residency, which is a 10-week required, mandatory. It's a 10-week program where you work doing real legal stuff. So you could be at a nonprofit, for-profit business, DA's office, public defender's office. You can work in chambers, which is what I'm doing. And it's part of your curriculum that you do that, and you get a pass, or hey man, don't knock this camera down. You get a pass, you get a fail. But I'm really enjoying it. And then after this residency is over with, I'm going to have 2 internships this summer. So I'll see if I can report back on how those go. I'd say more about my residency, but I literally just had my first day today. I guess I can talk about how my first day went if you all get this far in the video. My first day was being sent some stuff. I got to keep this completely confidential. They sent me some stuff. They said, look at these stuffs and come up with a determination on which one you think is the right stuffs, and then you're going to recommend it to this person, and then this person is going to say whether they agree with you or not. and they're going to give you your stuff back, and they're going to say, fix this stuff. And you're going to fix that stuff. You're going to get back to them. You're going to say, does this stuff look better than it did, like better than the previous stuff? And they're going to say, it's a little bit better. Let me give your stuff to this other person to see what they think about your stuff. And then I'm going to give it back to you with their comments, and then, redo your stuff and then give it back to me. So I'll redo the stuff. I'll give it back to them. I'm like, is the stuff better now? And they'll be like, yeah, stuff looks good. So that's essentially what I'm doing. That's what you do when you work for the Court of Appeals. You look at stuff and you determine stuff, and then you write that stuff down and you give it to someone else. Man, I'm so sarcastic. I should really just tell you guys what I'm doing. What a clerk does is a clerk is going to read briefs submitted by attorneys to the court for review. So I'm an attorney and I'm appealing a case because I think the law was incorrectly applied. I'm gonna say, hey, you guys got all the facts right, but you read the law that was written, the black letters in the book, and you misunderstood it. So when you applied the law, Judge, it was wrong. So I'm going to take your mistake and I'm going to write to this court, and I'm going to walk my happy tail over there, and I'm going to have this case reheard correctly. So then they're no longer trial court attorney, they're now appellate attorney. Doesn't immediately make them an appellate attorney, but they are doing appellate work. So then you write an appellate brief where you restate everything that happened, and you say, hey, here's all the facts, and here's where the trial court messed up. So can you tell me if they were wrong? And then you write to them and say why the other side was wrong and why you should have won. And the other side's doing the same thing. So you submit those. Both parties submit a brief to the appellate court. I am going to read those briefs. I'm going to say, And then I'm going to come up with some conclusions, and I'm going to write them down on my own brief, and I'm going to give it to the judge. The judge is going to read it, and then the judge is going to say, okay, but what about this? And then I'm going to answer questions about the briefs, and we'll do that for a little bit. And they'll write some stuff on my paper or my brief that I gave them, and they'll give it back to me and say, do this, and I'll send it back to them after I do it. And that's kind of how the whole thing goes. So that's what I'm doing for the next 10 weeks. And I'll let you guys know how this actually goes. Like I said, I just had my first day today, so I haven't done too much stuff with it, though I think it's going to be a good time. So that being said, this impromptu video is going to come to a close. I'll try to remember to put featuring my cat Lavender in the title when I post this. And let me know if there's anything that you guys will want to hear, because I'm very lax with these videos, though I think it's helpful. I'm an admissions assistant now at the school, so I give tours for prospective students. And a few of the students have viewed the videos and found them helpful. So that's why I'm taking it upon myself to get back at making a few videos, because people listen to them and they like to hear what it's like being a student at Elon. I'm only giving my perspective, so please, don't take this as how every other student is experiencing Elon. I'm a complete goofball, and I've been, jerking around most of this video. But if there's anything you guys want to hear, I'm a 2.5L, so I got a little bit of experience under my belt, and I'm happy to talk about anything. So